Long ago, the protagonist Homer witnessed a scene so tragic it shattered his soul, the brutal murder of two siblings he held dear by a monstrous beast. The shock froze him, leaving him powerless as the creature turned its gaze upon him, ready to drag him into darkness. But in their final breaths, those siblings summoned the last sparks of strength to save Homer, urging him to flee. From that moment, a bitter grudge took root in his heart against these monsters. These beings, called Fedoshin, are restless souls from another realm trapped in earthly objects, haunting the boundary between worlds. Now, Homer has grown strong enough to face a Fedoshin head-on. His grandfather, stationed in the other world, holds the sacred duty of guiding benevolent Fedoshin back to their realm. The police know of this hidden war but entrust exorcism clans to handle these spirits. With a mere conversation and ritual, his grandfather can command the spirits back into their vessels, restoring peace through reverence. Though aware that Homer chases a Fedoshin, the old man believed his grandson would use words, not fists. Yet, upon checking, he found Homer had already pummeled the spirit into submission. Concerned, his grandfather called another clan to watch over Homer for a while. Returning home, Homer explained his preemptive strike was to prevent danger from the Fedoshin. His grandfather reminded him not all spirits are evil. He urged Homer to judge by actions and only resort to violence when a spirit reaches its final, destructive stage. Most Fedoshin seek only to return home, and it's their job to listen and aid these lost souls. But Homer attacks immediately, sealing them without a single word. Homer firmly believes he's right. His loss years ago came from following his grandfather's peaceful way. The old man sees the hatred still burning inside Homer and had hoped he'd moved past it. But it seems the pain remains. So now, he plans to take stronger measures. He reveals special cases gentle Fedoshin, who have mastered control over their instincts and live freely alongside humans. Starting tomorrow, Homer must live with one such family as their guardian. This is the grandfather's way to change him. Refuse, and he'll strip Homer of his exorcist title. Left with no choice, Homer packs his belongings, still unable to grasp what he's done wrong. He gazes at a photo of the siblings, unsure if he should bring it along. Homer arrives in Kyoto, where his grandfather introduces Bolton, the person he will live with. Here, he must learn to see Fedoshin through a new lens. Meanwhile, special Fedoshin tasked with suppressing rogue spirits recall the arrival of a newcomer and hurry home. At the house, Homer meets two Fedoshin, Howie and Kusi. His instincts flare. He's wary knowing they are spirits. Bolton, still a student, is not home. 4 others are also present. The pink-haired girl Kagami, the golden-eyed youth Suji, the elder sister Du, and the cool older brother Nazi. They explain they are 6 Fedoshin serving Botan, but warmly welcome Homer into their fold. By the way, you might as well know I despise the Futan gods and have no intention of making friends with them. So spare me the welcome. I'll just stand aside and watch. Nazi knows I'm angry and taking it out on them, but I see their presence here as a trap for Botan. Fueled by rage, he decides to settle this with fists. Nazi forbids anyone from interfering. Ho doesn't even try to stop it, curious to see how far this will go. Nazi summons 2 swords, planning to strike me with the blade's edge just enough to hurt. Homer notices this move, it marks a dangerous level, and realizes it's time to back off. Before I can react, Nazi lunges forward, but suddenly, his sword snaps. Meanwhile, the Homer twins pull out 2 rings left behind by my older siblings. These relics can strike the Futan gods. The 2 sides clash fiercely, no quarter given. Yet, everyone watching knows neither side is fighting at full strength. Suddenly, Du gets word that Botan is about to return and alerts Ho. She signals for everyone to intervene and stop the fight, but fate twists cruelly. They misunderstand and all target Ho instead. I take 4 blows and confirm that the Futan gods cannot be trusted. Botan arrives, asking what's happening, but everyone falls silent. Ho tries to ask something before collapsing. Thus begins the life entwined with the Futang gods, a girl close to them, and a boy filled with hatred. Botan takes me inside and apologizes for not expecting me this early, but I blame myself for the oversight. Outwardly, I claim no anger, but my eyes betray a terrifying storm that startles Botan. My grandfather left me here for a year to understand the Futang gods better. I only need to learn the binding spells. I don't believe Botan can manage 6 Futang gods alone. Suddenly, I realize someone's missing. As for Nazi, he's hanging outside, refusing to accept his punishment. Ho was beaten by the group, but since Nazi started the fight, he's the one being punished. Ho sees that Botan doesn't know much about exorcists like me. My clan borrows power from the deity governing the boundary between humans and demons. So to the Futang gods, exorcists are like the police. But while my grandfather is a regular cop, I'm like a U.S. Marshal. The divide is harsh. I accuse Botan of being deceived by those monsters, which angers her deeply. She refuses to let her family be called monsters. She gives me 3 days to get along and accept the Futang gods, or I'll be sent home. But my grandfather warned leaving early means losing my position. I don't quite understand what getting along means yet, and the Futang gods ignore me and leave. Nazi frees himself from the ropes to taunt me. He thinks Botan is too merciful giving me 3 days, and frankly, he's done with fighting since it wastes my 3 days. He wants me to follow him so he can teach me a lesson. Botan thinks he's overstepping, but Ho agrees it's fair. Meanwhile, Nazi leads Ho to hunt the Futang gods. Their freedom depends on lending their power to exorcists to suppress their own kind. If I help him. He promises to speak well of me to Botan. I see he's clearly dodging responsibility, but he claims he's trying to befriend me. I notice his cold indifference. While hunting his own kind, he hates this job. It's a dirty task. But these 6 are willing to do it just to stay close to Botan. Together, we head to a gangster den. They're being tormented by a Futang god when we arrive. The villain turns to attack us, but Nazi and Ho team up and seal him away. Nazi thinks I'm allergic to Futang gods and assumes I hate them that much. But that's not true. On the way back, Ho reveals the Futang god sealed in the umbrella took the lives of my siblings. I don't understand why this info is so guarded, so I resolve to become clan head and uncover the truth. The next morning, Ho wakes early to train, and Botan calls me for breakfast. But I want to finish training first. At breakfast, I eat only what's served, no seconds, which makes her think I'm too rigid. Ho draws up a list if I get majority support signatures during my stay. I can stay longer. Today, I'm going to work with Suzu and Kagami. Because of my stiffness, Botan worries I won't get along with Suzu, who flirts with every girl on the street. I think Suzu is deceiving people, but he's just trying to make friends. Kagami, on the other hand, eats constantly, which irritates me. Futang gods don't need to eat. Both act like they're faking being human, but they confess they just want to understand humans better to serve Botan more. They hope I stop glaring at them. I get it now. Suzu's flirting is just a hobby. Eating is just fueling their work. Anyway, they're taking me to meet a Futang god. Hopefully, I won't glare at them anymore. The 3 of us meet a Futang god hoping to become a special case like Reagan. She's a mortar with a soul. Suzui only asks her one question to test her. He asks why she wants to be special. She says she feels at home here and wants to stay in the present world. Her answer passes. But Kagami still uses a demon-seeing lens to check for dark pasts. The lens shows she's clean, no guilt, so she can stay. Suzui then gives Gandhi and asks Homar to call Botan to see if anything is needed. Hearing Botan's name, Ragan suddenly panics and attacks Suzui. Homar rushes to save Kagami and restrains her. As we prepare to seal her, I hear she fears the Futang gods attacking their own kind from Botan's house. Suzui returns and explains everything, earning Ragen's trust, and she follows him. Kagami thanks us and tells Homer how special cases are handled. That night, I let Kagami ride on my back during training. Botan has grown used to my rigidity. The list for my stay approval now has 3 out of 6 signatures. The next morning, I wake realizing it's already day 3, and I'm only halfway there. Meanwhile, 4 Futang gods in the area are bitter. The Futang gods at Bolton's house have long resented following humans to hunt their own kind. While washing my face, I meet Botan. She really wants to extend my stay, but I brought this on myself and want to take responsibility. The 3 who signed assure me only Do remains, and since Ho and Grandpa Cuss didn't object from the start, Do, who holds no good impression of me and can be quite cold, is the toughest hurdle I must overcome. But when you really think about it, Do and Homer's personalities are like 2 puzzle pieces fitting together, so the rest must be left to fate. At this moment, he arrives to meet Do, who has already taken care of the ceiling issue all on her own. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She openly admits she can't stand him for what he's done and said from day 1. She even brings up how he made Botan cry. Then she lays down 2 choices: surrender, or prove yourself here until you earn her respect, and only then will she sign to radiate spiritual energy, drawing the attention of the 4 Futang, then who had been lurking nearby. Nazi senses it too, knowing that if Do gets serious, Homer won't stand a chance. All he focuses on now is running no fight, no resistance. Do keeps hurling giant needles toward him, and whenever his scarf gets hit, it instantly wraps back up tight. She wants him to fight, not flee. Then she summons hairpins and shoots them at Homer. Still, he offers no resistance. Do starts calling out his prejudices, and he admits the truth he was sent here to change exactly those biases. After 2 days in this place, he's begun to sense that they're truly different from other Futang then, until he fully understands that difference. Attacking them feels premature. Do's perception of him has shifted. Meanwhile, How at home informs Homer's grandfather that it looks like he might stay here regardless of the outcome. But the grandfather warns them that the darkness within Homer's heart runs deeper than they realize. He apologizes if Homer causes trouble, but hopes they will look after his grandson well. Do returns the scarf to him. He's confident there's still half a day left to change her mind and get her signature. He also notices Do's feelings for Botan feel almost human. It seems she really cares for Botan. His teasing words make her blush, and she throws a needle at him. As they soar into the sky, an opposing Futang then appears, and Nazi follows suit. The enemy sees Homer blocking the way and kicks him aside. The numbers on both sides are evenly matched. Nazi wonders what trouble Do has stirred up for these foes to show up. Suji knows a battle is inevitable. Meanwhile, Homer is already locked away somewhere else. Nazi wants to pause, so Do can pull Homer out. The others, feeling insulted, decide to target Homer first, forcing Nazi to split his attention. They keep the yellow-feathered one pinned down to buy Do time to rescue Homer. Suji manages to call Hao, who brings along Master QS. She hopes this fight will reveal Homer's true nature. When one enemy mocks Do, Suji traps him with ink. Another attacker tries to bind Suji with an obi, but Kagami uses a mirror to confuse him. Suddenly, Kagami senses movement inside the building and warns Do. A bulky foe wielding twin axes emerges, but she dodges just in time. Nazi is still locked in combat with the yellow-feathered enemy. He clarifies that his obedience to humans and his comrades' obedience to him stems from seeing these foes as enemies because they torment humans like playthings. However, Homer overhears their cruel words, as, breaking free from Do's spell on his own, Homer leaps down to face the axe-wielder, slicing him clean in 2. As 2 more rush him, he effortlessly cuts through one and kicks the yellow-feathered enemy away. The enemy locks eyes with him, clearly relishing the carnage. Homer doesn't deny his own thirst for battle, but he's resolute. He will wipe out all Photang than who threaten humanity. Hao now begins to glimpse Homer's true nature. Once, in his eyes, the Photang Than were nothing but harmful relics to humanity. Yet, it seems a shift has begun within him. She believes that beneath his warped soul lies a chance for healing. She trusts he will save Botan, the very person the Photang then once rescued from death's grasp. The bond between him and Botan will be woven by their own hands. Those ancient Photang then, long ago, saw Botan teetering between life and death. So, her grandfather entrusted 6 guardians to protect her, ensuring she could save her life as a human. When Homer's grandfather called Hazi, she set conditions to accept the role of watching over Homer. Now, Homer holds Doo's signature. His true journey here has only just begun. He senses a hidden connection in this place, one he must carefully watch, to see if the Photang then he can trust even exist. Botan rushed back with news that he'd gathered all the signatures. He stiffly turned to confirm her words and politely asked to greet her again. She couldn't help but laugh at his rigid formality. It was adorably awkward. Meanwhile, the others understood that Doo's signature came not from willingness, but to avoid disrupting work. They also hinted that the time was drawing near. Botan informed Homer that family members would take turns cooking. Homer knew she could manage cooking well enough, so she was comfortable with the arrangement. Suddenly, both met Doo and Hao. They decided to reveal the secret pact between her and Homer's grandfather, together. They headed to the main room. The secret agreement was that he would come here as their supervisor. In return, they set a condition: he would be tested and evaluated for a year to see if he was worthy of the position they'd long sought. Botan knew, but Doo silenced her from speaking. The position they sought the head of this household, or, in other words, Botan's fiancé. Homer was utterly clueless. While Botan's cheeks burned red, she thought it was a joke, but everyone was deadly serious. They declared it their mission, because all 6 of them were items Botan would carry with her to her husband's home. The signatures he'd won meant he'd been approved. Her grandfather had approved too. Now, his opinion was needed. Of course, Doo alone had yet to accept him. If he harmed Botan, she vowed to cut him down on the spot. Yet, he couldn't accept this situation just yet. He couldn't agree immediately, but refusing outright would disgrace her grandfather. So, he asked for more time to think. Afterwards, he excused himself for a run outside. Everyone saw he handled it with surprising calm. Botan worried this issue would weigh awkwardly on them for a whole year. She doubted Homer would ever accept this family. Hal thought Botan was overthinking it and joked that's why she might end up alone. At least they saw Homer remain composed instead of panicking. That said, when he left the house, he blushed without fully grasping the matter. How would Botan even explain this to Homer and Hal tomorrow? He secretly enjoyed watching Botan flustered like this. Homer called his grandfather, thinking this was his way of toughening him up mentally. But no, his grandfather was just worried his 21-year-old grandson hadn't yet tasted love. So he conveniently played matchmaker with Hao. He hung up and went to find Hao to discuss things. But Hao and Mr. Kusi were out on a mission. Doo and Naj were off handling leftover foes from last time and didn't call him along. Botan was about to head out and cross paths with Homer. She urged him not to mind the scheme Hao had arranged. He bluntly said he wasn't bothered, which saddened her enough to walk away quietly. Suzui thought he was foolish for coldly speaking those words and hurting Botan. Kagami even cried and punched him for what he said. Yet, he still didn't quite grasp what they truly meant. Though Botan heard Homer's clear words, deep down she felt a twinge of emptiness. Suddenly, she bumped into a Photang thug the boss of the group Doo and Naj were chasing. They'd been dealt with, but one thug revealed their boss must have captured Botan, forcing the duo to rush back to rescue her. Botan tried to flee, but the thug blocked her path. Being a manipulator, He could control barriers to stop her. But Homer charged to confront him, pushing him back just as Du and Naj arrived. Naj raised his sword, slicing the foe in two, while Du wrapped him up. Du rushed to check on Botan, and Homer learned that the Fo Tang Thun gang was trying to erase themselves, so someone was needed to protect Botan in their stead. Still, gratitude lingered for Homer's timely rescue. Then he pulled Du away to finish off the captured enemies. Homer took the moment to apologize to Botan for the misunderstanding earlier. He only wanted her to ignore Hao's gossip to avoid trouble. At home, no one knew if Homer's apology had been accepted yet. Homer wasn't one for sugarcoating words. It wasn't that he was cold or indifferent, he simply lacked the skill to explain himself gently. Botan laughed at the family's tangled mess, realizing how much hardship lay ahead. The next morning, Naj made a fuss over Homer's decision to paste charms around the house to block ordinary Fo Tang Than intruders. Naj told him Mr. Q had already erected a protective barrier, so the charms were unnecessary, but Homer had already stuck them up, so Naj made him go remove them all. Suzui recalled Hao and Mr. Kusi's meeting with that person, hoping both were safe. Meanwhile, Hao and Mr. Kusi visited Homer's grandfather. The three hadn't met in ages, and this reunion aimed to stop a dangerous entity named Kai. Kai was a perilous force, and their greeting was a brutal attack. They were trapped behind multiple walls, with flying blades deflected by Homer's grandfather. He joked this was Kai's way of welcoming guests. He was one of the three great Fo Tang, then too powerful to roam free, so imprisoned here. In exchange, he earned the right to summon anyone he wished for his amusement. The Kukchu accepted him as a special case, yet, wary of Kai's immense strength, they sealed him here with Yuki, another Fo Tang Then by his side. These two were the mightiest duo of their kind. Kai took interest in Homer eating at Botan's home and demanded the three stay and entertain him. With wine and food offered, Homer sought excuses to leave, but Kai forbade it. They were to remain for days to keep him amused. Meanwhile, Homer was collecting the charms, as Naj warned they might affect Botan, yet something still felt off. Kai revealed two reasons for sending Homer to Botan's home. First, to reform his nature. Second, to balance Botan herself. She was caught between human and Fo Tang Than realms. Her constant proximity to Fo Tang Than forced them to send Homer to restore her equilibrium. And then there's Homer, who discovers his talisman has burned away. Proof it did its job, holding back those Shinigami agents who came hunting. Kai warns the duo that the ones ahead of them have already arrived. Now, caution isn't just wise, it's survival. The two who shattered Homer's talisman have shown up, seeking him out. 4 Shinigami agents are tearing at Homer's talisman now, but as they get closer, they falter, paralyzed by its power. Homer is forced to bluff, claiming he's with the government, not their true target. But as he turns, he realizes the government knows nothing about the barrier incident. He strikes back, sealing one enemy and aiming to capture the other to force out his comrade's location. Yet, he's made a grave mistake. The supposed sealed enemy is still outside, and the other evades his attack. Meanwhile, Du calls Homer, asking how many talismans remain, with no answer and the talisman burned to ash. She senses something's gone terribly wrong. Homer suspects these 2 targets are after Botan's Shinigami agents, so he refuses to spill any secrets. But they're less interested in those agents and more fixated on him and his clan lurking around Botan's place for a while, clueless about why he's there. Is his clan after the power Botan holds if Homer stays silent? A war for Botan could ignite. He draws his weapon and fights back without caring about their words. His only certainty, they're aiming at Botan and the Shinigami agents, threatening innocent lives, and that must be stopped. The enemy realizes Homer knows nothing about Botan. Just then, Do arrives to explain why he's here. The man's name is Aji, and since he's gotten his answers, Do wants him to leave. Homer refuses, but Do holds him back. Any violence here would blow this situation way out of proportion. Their job is clear: gather intel for their employer. No apologies for how harsh things got. This is just part of the game. Homer keeps devising plans to take down these two. Next time they meet, Do will send him back. She'll handle the last talisman herself. As they part ways, Homer wonders what Aji meant about Bolton's power. Clearly, mysteries about her still linger beyond his grasp. The next day, Bolton suddenly dresses up nicely, ready to go on a date with Homer. Why? Just 30 minutes earlier, Haji returned from Kai's place, having heard about Aji questioning Homer's father. Suddenly, Haji asks Bolton out, claiming he wants to understand more about her, but she declines. Pressed for a report deadline she hasn't finished, she strides off, and only then does Homer share his questions with Haji and Kagami. Haji knew the truth would come out eventually, and tells Homer to wait by the convenience store for her. Bolton's stylish outfit, a cover to pose as Homer's partner while tailing her. The goal: let Homer witness the world around Bolton every day. At home, the barrier shields her, but outside, she constantly feels the eyes of other Shinigami agents watching. They observe from every angle, and she's forced to accept this invisible surveillance. Once Bolton arrives at school and submits her report just in time, her friends tease her about any recent romances. Bolton thinks of Homer but can't recall what she said. Meanwhile, Haji fills Homer in on the Shinigami agents. Essentially, they're spirits inhabiting objects, granting power. But what happens when a Shinigami agent takes human form? Just imagine the power. How immense could it be? Almost godlike. Bolton is the perfect vessel, the sacred ground for the subordinate spirits to inhabit. That's why a strict law forbids anyone from touching her. Now, you begin to grasp what Aji meant back then, and you wonder if the HO group truly dares to stand beside Bolton without any ill intentions. She wants you to stop treating this like a joke, because Bolton was entrusted to them long ago. In the first 3 years after the law was set, Bolton had to stay home. Every time she stepped outside, sensitive children would fear her power, and even adults would treat her differently. During that time, the bonds of family grew between the 6 of them. They spent endless hours helping Bolton overcome the fear in others. Then more time training her power so it wouldn't harm anyone. See, they earned your grandfather's trust, so surely you won't doubt his judgment. You believe in your heart that someday you'll protect Bolton enough to force Kagami to finally show himself. Both of them sense you're ready to be Bolton's fiancé, as your words hint at a lifelong promise to stay by her side. Bolton leaves just in time, and somehow the 3 of you here share a secret smile. Hua fibs, calling this a friendship bonding party. Hua asks Kagami about Bolton's parents, but no one knows. Since childhood, Bolton was handed over by her grandfather, and after his passing, no one has claimed to be her family. Later, the group disperses, but Bolton knows Hua has heard her past. She worries he might find her strange, especially after pushing him this morning, fearing he might grow resentment. But to her surprise, he admires her. She feels joy because Hua is the first to look upon her past with admiration. He sees the close bond between the subordinate spirits and Bolton, reminding him of his own siblings, wiping away his doubts. Outside, snow blankets the streets. Bolton still has school, while Hua goes for his morning run. Seeing him dressed too lightly, Bolton offers a heat pack to keep him from catching a cold. Just as they step out, Aji arrives and is escorted to Suzu. Hua dislikes Aji. He's been badly beaten by him. For now, Aji believes Hua's visit is part of training to reform his spirit. But Aji's clients remain suspicious of suspicious movements. Suzu skillfully maneuvers, forcing Aji to reveal that 3 factions are targeting their home, and it seems Kyoto's protection squad will strike first. After Aji leaves, Naji praises Suzu for handling the situation and extracting intel from him. Yet Aji withholds one secret days ago at night. He encountered a female subordinate spirit holding an umbrella. She wanted information from Aji, but he only shares when there's an exchange. He's curious to see how this family will weather the coming storm. The next day, Hua must meet the Kyoto protection team to request a permit to operate. Your grandfather and others warn you about the protection team's leader, a cunning fox in disguise, at the meeting. Hua notices a blindfolded subordinate spirit present. The leader calls this a special case and requests their help. Two young men are exorcists. Hearing that Hua is from a prominent family, they assume he's a useless rich kid. Hua observes how this team operates, and the boss hints Hua could earn the right to exorcise spirits here. If interested, Hua can join his team. They're short on manpower. He also has a favour to ask, linked to Botton's family. Meanwhile, Botton wonders at school if she should cook hot pot tonight. Hua is approached with an offer to help, because the boss sees Botton as a danger. If she awakens as a subordinate spirit, she would reign over all such spirits worldwide, unleashing consequences no one dares predict. The boss can't handle Botton, your grandfather, and bodyguards always protect her. But Hua broke through that defense to reach Botton, making him the only one able to seal her protectors and deal with her. Yet Hua answers no. He doesn't see her as a monster, nor does he hate her family. So once again, he refuses. The boss surrounds him with talismans, offering one last chance. Still, Hua declines. The talisman explodes. An attacker lunges but is instantly struck by Hua's stone. Scars reveal he's no pampered rich kid. His battle experience is vast, rivaling a master. The boss realizes Hua is no easy foe. He fights with both martial arts and spells. The boss summons his puppets, designed only to drain Hua's stamina for a blinding spell. But Hua's eyes are fixed on the girl behind them. She is the boss's daughter. When asked if she will join the fight, she refuses. Without hesitation, Hua sends a puppet flying near her. One attacker strikes, but Hua catches and hurls him away. Drawing his weapon, Hua slices two attackers in half. The boss recognizes it as the clan's secret blade, the heavenly guiding flame. Hua's generosity in revealing his technique shows his readiness. The boss has heard of Hua's tragedy and senses the hatred he harbors is deeper than expected. Meanwhile, Naji shops for ingredients to make hot pot tonight and tells Suji about Hua's fighting journey starting at age 12. Back then, Hua risked his life hunting subordinate spirits. By 18, he had single-handedly defeated a spirit said to rival the Homar clan. At this point, he has eliminated all puppets the boss commands. Yet the boss holds back his men, summoning another subordinate spirit puppet. Hua recognizes her the Jijinin girl he negotiated with alongside Suuji. He never expected to face her like this. She continuously attacks with kicks, but Hua refuses to hurt her. He blocks, not striking back with weapons. The boss notes Hua's reluctance to harm known spirits, despite his willingness to be ruthless with enemies. But with familiar faces, Hua grows hesitant. The boss believes sending Hyoma here has softened him instead of strengthening him. He plans to trap Hua in a puppet for easy control. He stepped forward, taking Reagan's blow without flinching, then struck fiercely at her eye. Swiftly, he caught every charm she hurled his way, charged forward, shattered the thug's face with a brutal kick, and levelled his weapon at the man himself. Ragan, now back to her usual self, realised his strike was aimed at the curses binding Ren, her daughter. As she looked at him, memory surfaced stories she'd heard from meeting his siblings long ago. He was just as they described, enough to make her urge her father to stop. Because if Homer truly fought, defeat was certain. If her father persisted, she'd join Homer herself, for she had grown intrigued by this boy. The man then roused his underlings. Laughing, he claimed he was merely testing him before granting the license. Apologizing for slandering Bottom's family, he admitted he doubted fooling Homer, but Homer was more easily deceived than he expected, deciding to entrust Ragan to him. The daughter handed over contact info, inviting future talks about his siblings. She introduced herself as Shaki Zen, still puzzled about recent events. Homer promised to explain on the way home. Back at the house, everyone fretted over the hot pot. Ren remained uneasy, haunted by the fact that this home belonged to demons who hunted their own kind. He asked her to endure just one day, as his family would come tomorrow to take her away. Inside, Bottom's eyes filled with worry at his battered state. Meanwhile, Homer's mind wrestled with the piercing gaze of Chaz Subak, so unlike Elias. The man truly wanted to eliminate Bottom. Bottom fetched supplies to bandage him, while Homer called Ragan in, requesting she stay the night. Seeing her dishevelled clothes and stunning looks, suspicion stirred. "What did you do to Miss Homer?" she asked sharply. Forced to sit and explain, Homer's tale unfolded. Meanwhile, Mr. Kusi returned, and X remained unconscious. Nazi seized the chance to get Ragan's number, eager to make friends. Next morning, the others went shopping. Ha stayed home while Mr. Kusi and Homer sought permission to go out. Homer needed to take Ji-Jin somewhere. Hao insisted Botan come along, because letting him travel alone with a beauty was out of the question. Jen also wanted to join, spooked by Homer's fierce gaze. The three headed to the place where Ragan once lived with her master back when it was just a medicinal mortar. She barely remembered her master's face, but always felt drawn to the place, though she had never entered. Just standing outside was enough. Later, Ren excused herself early, not wanting to waste more time from this unlikely couple. They explained the fiancé story was a ruse by the Hao Guild. At the train station, Reagan thanked Homer deeply, but he shrugged it off. It was just his duty. Ren confided that Botan reminded her of a true master. Every assistant spirit sensed her radiant light. She hoped Homer would protect Botan well. That afternoon, Botan expressed gratitude to Homer for taking her along and teaching her so much, and then she asked why he once hated assistant spirits so fiercely. Homer sensed Hao hadn't told her everything. Taking a deep breath, he revealed how his twin siblings were brutally killed by an assistant spirit they had encountered on the road. The image of that merciless figure skewering his siblings with a mocking grin was burned into his memory forever. Botan apologized for stirring painful memories, but admitted he should have shared sooner. Now, he understood what his father meant, that assistant spirits come in many forms. But Botan has seen the change in him, a stark contrast from the boy she first met. The words he once spoke cut deep, yet now she holds on to the hope of his complete transformation. He sensed his eyes fixed on them, one burning with deadly intent, the other three warned due to ease off. But she can't accept Botan dating Homer. Botan insists he call her by her first name, not her surname. The others have to restrain Du before she lunges to threaten Homer. Soon after, the Kyoto Protection Squad discovers traces of the Deputy God's aftermath. Father Tan, a man who dies but whose puppets were sent out, has been defeated, meaning at least 3 foes remain. He suspects one of the 3 factions Age mentioned before is behind this. The next day, Botan warns Homer to be careful. He always returns bearing wounds. When he calls her name, he feels that lethal aura again. Botan has to forbid Du from provoking Homer. This is her command. Later, the two head out on a mission. Homer knows this one's tough since both he and Du were called along. They're about to face the Kyogen Fire Gang, a major Kyoto faction. These enemies wield weapons designed for execution and torture. 4 years ago, the Protection Squad had to muster all their strength to suppress them. But now, it seems the remaining 3 from that gang are back. Nazi and others stay behind suspected targets if the gang strikes Botan. Homer feels at ease knowing he can take down these foes without hearing their twisted minds. He reunites with Subak, who will assist in this mission. Du plans to report Homer's progress, joking that wherever he goes, he hunts girls. Du and Shaki already know each other, Subak reveals she'll lead the next protection squad, so Homer should keep good ties with her. Homer notes only 3 will join the team. 2 will guide, but not fight. Others scour the city for cursed seals, while the trio investigates the gang's hideout. Arriving there, Homer admires Age's solo investigation skills. In truth, Homer's presence sparked these incidents, and the protection squad left Kyogen Fire alone for a while, as they kept quiet. But when Homer smashed that cowardly thug and his partner, the gang's fury erupted. Now, the 3 Kyogen leaders reveal themselves. Jin. Homer questions why they harm others. They coldly reply it's their pleasure and duty as torment instruments. They plan to ambush the protection squad but couldn't extract info from captives, so they wait. Homer no longer holds back. Shaki wants to witness Homer's true strength here. She wonders if he's the one she's been waiting for. Age tries to avoid fighting, but Shaki marks her with a curse and charges. The Earth Brawler attacks from behind the Fire User, while the Fire User rushes Subak. The wild-haired thug charges Homer directly. Homer dislikes chatter and wants Do to finish this quickly. Anyone trying to talk their way out is doomed. AJ has hated him for being sly and self-serving, always kissing up to humans. Insulted. AJ calls her comrades to strike Homer. Do coordinates to stab the thug's hand with a hairpin, then lands one on his neck. Though wounded, he swiftly recovers. He's evolved to regenerate his body. He shoves Do aside and notices his blade shortened. Homer's scissors sliced it. That blade is a key to the demon realm's door. Any item cut by it vanishes from the human world, sent back to the demon realm. He spins blades around Homer's body. But just as they near his throat, the blades halt. Subak finishes off the Fire User. Her target is stronger than her. She senses Homer shares her pursuit of the paper demon. Homer slashes through the blades. The Earth Brawler, distracted by Subak, is restrained by AJ's allies. The thug unleashes a finishing move on her. AJ's teammate loses a layer of armor, only 3 remain. Only the Razor Guy is left. He shifts into his final form, becoming a monster. Do returns, enclosing the house with hairpin traps and signals Homer to retreat. Homer understands, but as Do charges, he follows. She changes tactics, hurling the entire house at the monster. It's pushed toward Homer, who slices it in 2. Homer leaps and dodges debris to land safely. Do scolds him for misunderstanding.